Hello and welcome to the month of Spooky 2019. Scary stories are a part of our lives. These remind us of our own mortality, get our adrenaline going, and send chills through our bodies that we just can't explain. During this month, you can expect the unexpected, hear the unbelievable, and witness stories that stretch the imagination. This is Ron's Amazing Stories. Today's podcast is full of scary goodness and badness. We begin with a double dose of axe murder and ghostly piano music. Next, we drive the lonely stretch of road known as Haynesville, Route 2A. Then, do the ghosts of two children reach out from the grave? We'll find that out together. We close the show with a classic horror drama from the golden age of radio. The story comes from the Hermit's cave, and I promise you that your chill meter is about to be broken. 3 people are stranded in the house on Lost Man's Bluff. However, we begin this journey with a very special 5-minute mystery for you to enjoy. Let's get started.
Another 5-minute mystery.
This 5-minute mystery is being brought to you by the country of Germany and our very own Tom Williams. Tom takes a break from growing up to present us with this strange tale of mysterious doings down south. Let's get started.
Hello. Yes, this is Dr. Fangfist. Are you going to shoot me again? You're going to explode a what?
Hey, Chief. I think I found all the parts, but it's hard to know for sure. Sure was a mess. Don't know if it's important or not, but I found this here recording labeled Tom Williams and the Panther. I'll play it right now.
October, as Ron calls it, the month of spooking, with its golden leaves, millions of them to be raked and bagged up and sent out somewhere to a dump. But that's another story. Every time I worked in the courtyard, either cutting grass or raking leaves, there was always this emaciated, one-eyed fox that came through the neighborhood and sat on the corner and actually watched me do my thing. I was never shocked at his presence. As a matter of fact, I was disappointed and a little surprised when I would turn around and he wouldn't be there anymore. But on this one particular October day, I was in the courtyard cutting grass when, for a split second on my left-hand side, there appeared a large black panther. Yes, the panther appeared and pranced 4 graceful steps and vanished, as if it were fading into another scene somewhere or another dimension. I was not shaken by this incident, but more amazed by the beauty, the black shiny coat, and the gracefulness of the animal. It only looked ahead. It never looked in my direction, as if it was concentrating on something else ahead. I've never seen this animal again. It's a shame. What a beautiful animal. Well, anyways, I wish you all the best for the holidays. Sincerely, Tom.
Wow, this is going to take forever to clean up. Now, where did I put that there hit button?
Ezekiel cried, God bones, Ezekiel cried, God bones, Ezekiel cried, God bones, now hear the word of the Lord. Ezekiel connected them, God bones, Ezekiel connected them, Dry bones, Ezekiel connected them. Dry bones, now hear the word of the Lord. Oh, when your toe bone connected to your foot bone connected to your heel bone connected to your ankle bone connected to your leg bone connected to your knee bone connected to your thigh bone connected to your hip bone connected to your back bone connected to your shoulder bone connected to your neck bone connected to your head bone. Now hear the word of the Lord. Them bones gonna walk around. Them bones gonna. Them bones gonna walk around. Now hear the word of the Lord.
Well, there you have a mystery that really doesn't have a solution. The panther symbol is featured strongly in the Mississippian culture. It is believed to be a supernatural deity that resides in the underworld. This 5-minute mystery was brought to you by Germany and our very own Tom Williams. Thank you, Tom.
What's that you say?
Well, I have to say, welcome to the month of spooky. Things are rolling along now, and some of you may have noticed that we're not following the plan that I laid out in the blog dated September 24th, 2019. Some logistical issues came up, and the project had to be abandoned. However, it was replaced with a brand new plan, which you've already heard the results of. Each Tuesday during the month of spooky, a second podcast will be published. This is only for internet users. If you are listening to the show on the radio and want to hear these additional shows, you can. Just head to ronsamazingstories.com and they'll be waiting for you. These new shows will contain everything from stories from past Halloweens to some brand new stuff. I'm going to keep them right at 30 minutes, and I hope you enjoy the extra spookiness. And now, this word from Audible. Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/ronsamazingstories. They have over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, computer, Kindle. Whatever you have, you can definitely listen to Audible on it. So what am I listening to right now? Another Audible original that at first glance sounds kind of silly. It is called A Grown-Up Guide to Dinosaurs, written by Ben Gerard and narrated by Ben Gerard. These originals made by Audible are growing in popularity and are improving in quality. Now, most children go through a dinosaur phase. I know I did. Learning all the tongue-twisting names, picking favorites based on ferocity, armor, or sheer size. For many kids, this love of terrible lizards fizzles out at some point after primary school. All those fancy names, slowly forgotten, no longer any need for a favorite. However, for all those child dino fanatics that didn't grow up to become paleontologists, dinosaurs seem like something out of mythology. They are dragons, pictures in books, abstract, and of course, extinct. They are at the same time familiar and mysterious. And yet, we're in an age of rapid discovery. New dinosaur species are being discovered at an accelerating rate, and we are learning more about what they looked like, how they lived, how they evolved, and where they all went. This series isn't just a list of dino facts. It tells the stories of the why and the how. Now, do you want to find out the latest about dinosaurs? Here is what Audible has set up for us. They are offering a free audiobook and 30 days to give you the opportunity to check out their service. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories. Again, that's audibletrial.com/Ron's Amazing Stories, and you can get your dinosaur book today. Thank you, Audible. And now, it's time for your stories.
These are your stories, sent by you, for you.
Well, this is the month of spooky, and I'm constantly amazed by what people have experienced. This story just might be one of the strangest we've had to date on the show. It comes from Portland, Maine, and was sent in by Parker Happ. Hello, Ron. This is the first time I'm telling this story out of the family circle. My wife encouraged me to write it and send it in to you. We both love the show and want to do our part for the upcoming month of spooky. Maine is famous for its rich wildlife and quaint seaside towns. It's known for its seafood, scenic coast, and charming lighthouses. However, the state also has a dark side. We have urban legends, charming haunted lighthouses, and really freaky ghost stories. It's easy to see why every Stephen King novel takes place here. There's dark woods, abandoned cemeteries, dangerous roads, and hundreds of unexplained deaths. There's even haunted pianos, lake monsters, and curses which have stood the test of time. Maine is without a doubt one of the most haunted places in the world today. I call my story the Seguin Island Horror. Seguin Island has one of the oldest lighthouses in Maine, standing high above sea level on an isolated and barren rock. It is said to be haunted by the ghost of a former caretaker and his wife who were driven insane by the isolation. The caretaker came to the island with his wife and had a piano brought there to ease the monotony. Unfortunately, she could only play the piano if she had the sheet music. No creative ability, I guess. To make matters worse, they only had one song, and she played that one tune over and over and over again until her husband took the piano apart with an axe and then turned the axe on his one-song wife. It is said that people have seen their ghosts and can hear her playing the piano to this day. My wife and I love to visit lighthouses and decided to return to one of our favorites. If you can't guess it, it is, in fact, the Seguin Island Light Station. The area around the place is full of beautiful vistas, wonderful hiking, and it's only 30 miles from Portland. We've been there many times hoping to catch a glimpse of the ghosts or hear that piano playing. The lighthouse stands at the highest point on a tiny island with nothing around it but the cold rushing water of the Kennebec River. It can only be reached by chartered boat and by appointment. We had both. We also made special arrangements to stay longer, so when the last ferry left, we were virtually left alone on the island except for the support staff. We always begin our trip with a stroll around the island and then go to the main house. It's here that the ghost activity has been seen and heard. It was getting along towards dusk, and we had to be leaving soon with the support staff on their boat. They were busy closing things up for the day, so that left us completely alone in the house. We sat down at the piano. My wife said, "Are you there?" As she spoke, I felt a chill go through my body, and then a hand on my shoulder. I turned, and there was nothing there. My wife spoke again. "I can feel your presence. Please play something for us." A single note rang out from the piano. Neither I nor my wife were touching any of the keys. Again a chill, and again a second touch. It was creepy. Suddenly, things turned violent. I felt a shove in the middle of my back, and my wife let out a scream. She stood straight up, whirled around, swatting at the air. I ran to her, and she threw her arms around me. We got out of that room and went to wait for the boat. On the way home, we told the support staff what had happened. Each and every one of them had their own creepy story about things that had happened to them in that old lighthouse. As for my wife, she told us that she saw lights all around her swarming like bees, and she felt like they meant to harm her. One of the cashiers said that she too had experienced those very same lights. We've not been back to the Seguin Island Lighthouse since, but we plan to someday. Parker Happ, Portland, Maine. Well, Parker, that is a story. So very strange and very well told. Thank you for it. I did a little research on the place. The Seguin Island Lighthouse is in the Gulf of Maine near the mouth of the Kennebec River. It was established in 1795 and is the second oldest of Maine's coastal lighthouses. Its height is at 180 feet above mean sea level. The present tower was built in 1857 and is the highest of the state's lighthouses. It became automated in 1985. It is now operated as a museum property by a non-profit organization and open to the public via scheduled ferry from Poppin Beach. Unfortunately, the light is currently deactivated due to an issue with an undersea cable that powers the island. As for the ghost of the island, there are literally hundreds of reports of sightings and sounds. In fact, the place is called Maine's most haunted location. To this day, visitors to the isolated island have reported hearing the haunting sound of piano music drifting softly from the lighthouse to the ghostly visage of her husband trudging across the island with axe in hand. Again, Parker, thank you for your story. Our second story also comes from Maine. Another of the most haunted places there is said to be a stretch of road in the north called Route 2A. It runs through the Haynesville woods and is known for tragic and bizarre accidents. It's famously known for a woman who can be seen walking along the side of the road. Here is a story from Margie Wells, who had this encounter on Route 2A. She calls her story The Ghost Bride of Haynesville Road. I was driving home, and I had to go through Haynesville. I always feel strange driving that part of the road, but nothing weird has ever happened. I, of course, knew its history, but I always thought it was just a bunch of bunk. That is, until that night. It was dark, and I saw a woman walking along the side of the road. She was dressed in white, head to toe, and saying that she looked out of place, well, that's an understatement. I slowed to a stop, rolled down my window, and asked if she needed any help. She told me that she was a new bride, her and her husband had been in a car accident, and that they needed help. I told her that I would gladly help and to get in. I unlocked the door and pushed it open. As she moved towards the door, I felt a ghostly chill, and then she just vanished. That's it. The end of the story. Nothing. I drove home and told my roommate about it, but he just laughed and said that he, too, had heard all the stories. Margie Wells, Bancroft, Maine. Well, Margie, I have no explanation for it. A simple, scary haunting of Haynesville Forest, I guess. Thank you for sharing it, and it is truly amazing. Our last story comes from Raleigh, North Carolina, and was sent in by Connie Fox. Connie writes, "Hello, Ron. I love the podcast and can't wait to hear it each week. I think the 400th episode was your best show to date, and I've been listening for a long time. I have a story to tell that really isn't scary, but it is as real as you can get. You'll understand after I tell it. When I was 3, my parents moved us into a new neighborhood. The house was nice, but kinda old. The neighborhood was an old 50s tract home area, so it had a pretty varied group of people living there. As soon as we moved in, my dad started noticing weird things with me. He would hear me giggling and laughing in my room, and whenever he went in and asked, "What's so funny?" I would tell him that the kids were being funny. He would also come in to wake me up and find me curled up in the closet. This happened over and over again, but my parents didn't think much of it because I was a pretty imaginative kid. The thing that wigged them out the most was that I flat out refused to walk out the front door. I would scream and yell and cry until one of my parents picked me up and carried me out of the house. When you walk in the front door, to the right there was a closet, and to the left was a low brick wall that separated the front door from the living room. It was about 4 feet high and about 3 feet long, just a room divider, but I never touched it or wanted to be near it. After we'd lived there a few months, my dad started making some renovations to the house. Amongst them was demolishing that wall. My parents dropped my brother and I off at our grandparents' the day that they were going to do it so that we wouldn't be underfoot. We didn't end up going home for a week. You see, when my dad knocked down the wall, he immediately called the police. Inside the brick wall were bones that turned out to be from 2 children. The cops never figured out who put them there, and the house had been owned by so many people, many others who had just rented it. It was, and is, to this day, an unsolved case. The kids were never identified and were buried at a local cemetery as Boy 1 and Girl 2. Connie Fox, Raleigh, North Carolina. Well, Connie, I did do a bit of research on this one, and I found your story. It was dated June of 1977. I hope you don't mind, that kind of dates you, and was before DNA testing was a thing. I wonder if they'll ever exhume those kids to find out who they were. With nothing to match them to, it could be an impossible task. Thank you for sharing your story. It is creepy, sad, and makes me angry all at once. Do you have a story that you want to tell on the show? If you do, we want to hear it. It can be about any subject and from any genre. Heck, it doesn't even have to be true. Original fiction or stories from the public domain are quite welcome. To submit them, head to ronsamazingstories.com and click on the story submission banner. Fill out the form, and soon your story will be heard on the show. Do you have a story but don't want to write it? That's okay too. Just leave your contact information, a brief description of your story, and I'll get back to you. We can write it together. However, if you don't do it, your story remains just that, your story. Why not share it with the world and make it our story?
Hi everyone, I am Jason Dowd, president of Gladys Goodies, and Gladdy is my dachshund, and I am excited to tell you that if you go to our website, GladysGoodies.com, and use the promo code RONS, that's RONS, you will get 25% off your entire order. These treats are all natural with low fat, no artificial flavors, chemicals, byproducts, preservatives, sodium, or anything else that will harm your fur friend. We take great pride in our products, and you will see it once you try some. So go to GladysGoodies.com, that's GladysGoodies.com, and don't forget to use the promo code RONS to get that discount. And while you're there, pick your doggy up some swag too. You'll be glad you did, and thanks for listening to this amazing podcast of Ron's Amazing Stories.
Our featured story comes from Old Time Radio. It's been a while since we played one of these. This one comes with the billing of being one of the best and most disturbing haunted house stories from the golden age of radio. The Hermit's Cave was one of the earliest horror programs and easily stands among the best. Car trouble forces a woman, her snappish husband, and her brother to spend the night in a deserted house with a macabre past. Prepare yourself for long stretches of airtime filled by nothing but breathing and quiet footsteps. Those never failed to spook the heck out of me. The story is called The House on Lost Man's Bluff, and it first aired on October 18th, 1936.
Hermit, you're next.
Ghost stories, weird stories, and murders too. The Hermit knows of them all. Turn out your lights. Turn them out. Have you heard the story? The House on Lost Man's Bluff, eh? Then listen while the Hermit tells you the story.
For heaven's sake.
What is it, Denton?
Out of gas?
Couldn't be, Charles. Denton filled up at the last stop. What is it, Denton?
For heaven's sake, Nan, how do I know? Well, that's that.
Ooh, I hope we don't get stranded in this forsaken territory.
Well, that'd be something, wouldn't it? We haven't passed a house in the last 3 hours. Well, I might as well get out and see what I can do. You want me to take a look at it, Denton? No. I'll tinker with it a while. You and Nan sit down on the side of the road. I might be able to find the trouble for you, Dad.
Charles was only trying to help, Denton.
Never mind, I say. I'll have the thing going in a moment. Do as I say. Sit along the road. I'm going to work.
Come on, Charles. Let's do as he says.
Just as you say, Denton.
Here's a nice place to sit, Charles. We can look right down into a valley from here.
Why, it is nice, isn't it?
See? You can look all over the valley.
Wonder what they call this place.
I wouldn't know. Oh, look. We're not so far from civilization as I thought.
A town at the lower end of the valley.
Yes.
Now, that's still a long way away. You see? The road takes a roundabout way along the rim of the valley.
Uh-huh.
Say, I bet that's where I'm going to work.
Do you think so?
I'll just bet you that's where the job is that Denton got for me.
Way out? Away from everything?
Oh, I don't know. Looks like a nice little town. I'll make out all right.
I hate to have you leaving us, Charles. I'll be terribly lonesome.
Oh, I'll get back to the city occasionally.
You must be sure to do that.
Sure I will. Nan, Denton can't hear us talking from here, can he?
No.
I have a feeling that he managed this job for me way out here because he didn't want me living with you two anymore.
Oh, no, Charles. Why should he object to my own brother living with us?
You've got me there. I can't figure it out. When I first came to stay with you, Denton talked of getting me work close by.
I know he did.
Nan, there's something strange about it.
I don't know exactly what you mean, Charles.
Yes, you do. Ever since Denton came back from that road trip, he's acted strange.
Now that you mention it, I think I have noticed something different about Denton.
He was jolly and friendly enough to me when I first arrived. And now, all of a sudden, he's changed.
Maybe we're imagining it all.
Doesn't seem that he'd be jealous of his wife's own brother, does it?
No. Denton's not like that.
But he has been for the last 10 days. Morose, sullen, sitting most of the time staring at me.
Maybe he feels I've been paying more attention to you than to him.
Maybe that's it.
It's only natural that I'd be solicitous of my own brother, whom I haven't seen for so many years.
We won't talk about it anymore. All I hope is that he isn't ill, that you aren't going to have trouble with me so far away.
You said we mustn't worry about it. We won't.
No.
I do wish he'd get the car started.
He wouldn't let me help him. Fairly pushed me away.
Denton's frightfully independent. But I wish he'd hurry.
Nervous?
I think we're going to have a storm. We should be getting out of these hills and down into town quickly.
Say, the sky is getting black and gloomy.
Look over to the west. Clouds are piling up fast.
Something of a wind coming up, too.
Denton just stands there looking at the car as if he didn't know what he was doing.
Maybe he doesn't. Well, let's go back over. Maybe you'll let me help him now.
All right.
Watch your step. There are jagged pieces of rock here.
That wind's getting stronger every minute.
It sure is. Looks like we might be getting a tornado. How are you making out, Denton? What? Located the trouble?
We should hurry, Denton. There's a terrific storm coming up fast.
Can't make the car go if it doesn't want to.
Look at the sky, Denton. We're in for a real storm.
Wow. There goes my hat. No use chasing it now.
Please, hurry. Get the car started.
All right. All right, get inside. Maybe it'll go now.
Let's hurry.
We'll have to drive like mad to get out of these hills and into the village before the storm breaks.
I know these roads. I'll get you out all right.
Denton, don't be so cross. Jump on every word Charles says.
Then don't give me orders.
Oh, look. The sky was lighted by that streak of light. Now look how black it is. Turn on the lights of the car, Denton.
Easy. You'll never be able to keep the car on the road with a wind like this.
What are we going to do, Denton? It'll blow the car off the road and hurl us down the hill.
Wow. That was a peal of thunder.
Denton, we can't drive on in this.
No, I know we can't.
What are we going to do, Dan? Can we sit in the car and be safe?
We aren't going to sit here. We're going to make for shelter.
But where?
There's a house sitting up there on the rock.
It's so dark I can't see it.
There's a house up there. I got caught in a storm the last time I was through here. Climbed up to that house and stayed until it blew over.
Well, can we get up there all right?
We can make it. We'll have to. Get out of the car. We've got to start right away. Hurry, climb out.
Give me your hand, Dad.
It's in the middle of the afternoon and black as night.
Now, we've got to climb fast. We'll all take hold of hands and start up the rock. We've got to get to that house. We've got to get there. Give me your hand, Nan.
So
Let's
dark.
go. Hurry. Come on.
Knock on the door, Denton.
We don't have to knock. We walk right in.
What?
Hurry. Get inside.
Oh. Whew.
Boy.
What a relief. I thought for a few minutes we might not make it.
I'll bolt this door so the wind won't rip it open.
Who owns this place? Doesn't anyone live here?
There was no one living in it when I stopped on my way through here last time.
But it must belong to someone. It's completely furnished.
Whoever owns it hasn't been here for a long time, then. Everything's covered with dust and cobwebs. I can see them even in this pale light.
It's so dark in here. Can't you find a lamp or something, Denton?
I'll get a light. There's one in this room off the hall.
Come on, Charles, let's follow him. I don't like standing in this dark hall.
I found a lamp. I'll have it lighted in a moment.
Oh, it's so damp and cold in here. Ooh.
There. Huh. Light makes it better, doesn't it?
Some.
Maybe. I don't like the looks of this place.
At least we're out of the storm, Nan.
You stopped here on your last trip through, Denton? And there was no one living here then?
That's what I said, wasn't it?
But it's completely furnished. Surely someone lives here now.
Maybe they do. They aren't here now.
Almost like a dungeon in the room. Windows are built so high.
Something like a fort. But it's grand Denton knew of this place. Its shells are out of the storm. A wind couldn't blow this building over.
Denton,
What?
what are you staring at?
What?
You heard what I said. What are you staring out into the hall for?
Say, Dan, are you all right?
Don't clench your hands that way. What do you see?
Did I say I saw anything?
What's the matter with you?
Don't keep asking me questions. I've got you out of the storm. Isn't that enough? Now leave me alone.
Where are you going? Where are you going, Denton? Stop him, Charles.
Don't you think we all ought to sit in here? When the storm blows over, we can drive on.
What's wrong with him? He's moving like a person in a trance. Get him to come back in this room.
Are you ill, Denton? Is there something we can do?
Stay right where you are. Both of you.
What is it?
I'm going into that room across the hall.
But why don't we all stay together? It's dark in here. I don't like it. I want you to stay near me.
I said I'm going into that room across the hall. And I'm going alone. Your brother Charles will take care of you. You prefer his company, don't you?
Is that what's wrong with you? Why do you act this way toward my brother?
You might as well make up your minds. Both of you. That we'll stay in this house until morning. I'm going into this room to sleep.
Denton!
It's no use.
He is ill.
He's got it in for me. Come on. Let's go back where the lamp is.
Listen. You hear what he's doing?
Barricading the door.
What does all this mean? Oh, Charles.
Let's get back to where the lamp is.
It's as if he's lost his mind.
Sit down. It's been coming on him for some time. Ever since he made that last trip through here. We know that.
What shall we do? Why did he go into that room and leave us?
As soon as we get into town, we'll persuade him to see a doctor. Let's make the best of it now. If he wants to leave us and sleep, let him.
Oh.
It's tough on you, Nan. I'm sorry I brought you all this trouble.
Denton's never been this way before. There's something dreadfully wrong. What was that?
Oh, is that Denton laughing?
No, it can't be. He's never laughed like that in his life.
Oh, it's coming from the room Denton went into. That's for sure.
He's going mad. Oh, Charles.
Come on. You'll have to let us in.
Denton? Denton, what is it?
Let us in. Dan, let us in.
Locked?
bolted and barricaded.
Denton, please let us in. It is coming from in there. But it's not Denton. It can't be. Oh, what are we going to do? What shall we do?
Everything's all right now, Nan. He's quieted down.
He answered you the last time you went over to the room?
Yes. He said, I'm all right. Go away.
Oh.
I think he's going to sleep now. We might as well do the same.
I can't sleep in this horrible house.
Yes, you can. It'll only be a few hours before morning.
But what if Denton refuses to come out of that room in the morning?
He'll be better in the morning. The storm's passed over, too. Everything will seem different in the morning.
Leave the lamp burning. I'm scared.
Sure. I'll set it on the mantel. It won't bother our eyes, but it will shed some light.
Yes, that will be all right. You think Denton will sleep?
I think he's asleep now. I'd break the door down then if I thought it would do any good. But I think it's best to let him get over this spell by himself.
I'll never believe it was he laughing.
Who could it have been but Denton? Oh, now don't worry anymore. Try to get some sleep. If he calls out, I'll wake you up.
It seems like a nightmare, doesn't it?
It will in the morning. Everything will be different then. Go to sleep now. You need the rest. What is it?
Wake up! There's someone standing over you.
What?
Wake up! There's someone standing over you. They're going to kill you. Charles!
Good heavens! What is it? What was that?
Oh, Charlie. He stood right over you with his hands reaching out for you.
Who?
And when I screamed, he ran.
For heaven's sake, who?
He was going to kill you.
Who stood over Charles ready to kill him, eh? The Hermit will tell you before the night is done.
Now, back to the Hermit.
Terror-stricken, Charles and Nan stand in the middle of the room in this strange house on Lost Man's Bluff, wondering who tried to kill Charles. Listen.
You mean you think it was...
I know it was Denton.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Denton trying to kill me.
I know it was he. With his hands reaching out for your throat.
Oh, no.
And when I screamed, he ran back into that room and closed the door. Charles, where are you going?
I'm going to get him out of that room before something really happens.
You mustn't go near him.
I've got to. No, you stay here.
Never. I'm going with you.
I'm going to make him let me in there.
He may try to kill you again.
I don't think he will. You stay behind me. Denton? Denton!
Denton!
The door's unlocked. Denton? Stay back, Nan. I'm going to light a match. Great heaven. Denton.
What is it?
Get back. Don't look.
Why are you closing the door? What is it, Charles? What did you see?
No. Denton's...
Something's happened to him. Something's happened to Denton. What is it, Charles? Tell me quick. What is it?
Denton's... hanged himself. Keep hold of yourself, Nan. We've got to get out of here. Down into town and get the authorities here.
Denton. Denton, hang yourself.
Let's hope the car runs. We've got to get into town. The laughter again.
Look. Up at the top of the stairs.
What is it?
In this faint light, it looks like the figure of a man.
Yes, but you can see right through him. He's disappeared.
Standing there at the head of the stairs, pointing at us. Then vanished.
That same laughter.
Charles, you're not going up there. We're going to get out of the place right away and get help. Quick, hurry, we must get help.
But I tell you, it's urgent. You've got to go up there right now.
Go up to that house on Lost Man's Bluff before daybreak?
Right now.
Oh, no, not me.
But my husband is dead in that house.
Would never enter the door of that house at night. No, sir. Neither would anyone else in this town.
Denton is dead.
He ain't the first one to die up there.
What do you mean?
Ain't never heard of the house on Lost Man's Bluff?
No. We don't live around here.
Oh, well, that explains that.
What did you mean when you said that Denton was not the first man to die there?
5 years ago, a fella that owned that house killed his brother, then hanged himself.
What?
That's right. But hanging didn't seem to take him out of this world. Now, I ain't the only one that's been there, passed there at night and heard his wild laughter. It's fit to make the hair stand right up on a man's spine. Other folks tried to live in that house. But you know what happens to them when they go in a certain room in that house?
The room Denton tried to sleep in?
The desire to kill enters in them. And the laughter of him that belongs to the other world drives them mad. They can't get away from it. They return to the place.
Charles, that's what happened to Denton. He said he'd been in that house before.
They try to kill if there's anyone near to kill, and then they take their own lives. It's happened to 3 other people. One man got back to town and told his experience, but he went back up there a few weeks later and took his life, hanged himself. Oh, no, sir. You'll have to wait till morning. Won't get nobody to go up there in the night to that house on Lost Man's Bluff.
From the house on Lost Man's Bluff continues to pierce the night. Don't ever go near it after sundown. No. Turn on your lights. Turn them on. I'll be back. Pleasant dreams.
All characters, places, and occurrences mentioned in the Hermit's Cave are fictitious, and similarity to persons, places, or occurrences is purely accidental.
Were you scared? There were moments in that one that just sent chills through me. What an incredible story, and it's easy to see why it's called one of OTR's best. The Hermit's Cave was a syndicated radio horror series. The syndication was done via scripts so that the station could broadcast the program with their own actors. It began in September 1937 and continued into the mid-1940s on WJR AM in Detroit, Michigan. WJR's broadcast of the shows were recorded and broadcast a week later. By 1943, transcriptions of the WJR versions were also being broadcast in additional cities. Over 800 episodes were produced, but fewer than 40 actually remain today. That truly is sad news.
Hello, I'm Vincent Price. For many years now, mankind and his offspring have been searching for an alternative to peanut butter and jelly. After employing the latest methods in technology, the Peter Paul Candy Company has found the alternative to peanut butter and jelly. Peanut butter with no jelly. Pure, creamy peanut butter dotted with Crispies, covered with pure milk chocolate, but no jelly. I'm sure you're as pleased as I am.
That's a wrap. I want to thank Parker Happ, Margie Wells, and Connie Fox for their great stories this time. Next week, we'll be back with a special Halloween edition of Ghost Stories with Sylvia. If you want to follow the podcast or the blog, just head to ronsamazingstories.com. There, you're going to find an amazing number of links that should fit every need. Do you want to help the show? The best thing you can do is to tell your friends about it. And please leave reviews or feedback wherever you listen. This is what makes us grow. Thank you for listening, and I hope you come again to find out what are Ron's amazing stories.
All of the vintage audio used in the podcast is believed to be in the public domain. Ron's Amazing Stories does not own the rights to any of the old-time radio used here. If you hold the rights to any of the shows played, please contact us immediately at ronsamazingstories.com.